So we're gonna stop and check. All right. Looks good, looks good. And then as I start to release, I'm not gonna throw it. As I start to release the ball, as I start bringing my right arm forward, I should say, I'm gonna tuck this mitt, okay, into my armpit area, my chest area where my heart is, okay? A lot of guys will leave it there, okay? Some guys will bring it down here, okay? Why is it so important to be compact with that glove side to where we're bringing it in here? Why is that so important? Balance, yeah, I would say balance. What else? Yeah, what we call leaking, okay? When you start leaking is when you open up a little bit too much, a little too early, okay? You're leaking with that front side, all right? How about your hips? Where do you get your power from in baseball? Huh? Core and below, right? Your lower half, okay? Your core and below. Upper half is all form-based, all right? Down here is where you're getting all your power from, okay? So, from this position, if I leave my glove here, can I really clear my hips as much as I should be able to? Not really, okay? But if I get in here, watch my hips now. Now I'm able to clear those and maximize my power, okay? And I haven't wasted any energy. So from right here, I'm able to clear those hips, glove comes in, all right? So make sure that they're doing that, all right? So we'll do a couple of these, one knee. All right. Stop and check, looks good. And release, okay? My knees over, or my chest is over my knee right here. Good follow through. Showing two hands, there we go. Step and check, looks good. Arm side looks good. Release, all right? Just like that, okay? So those are one knees. Next one, cement feet, all right? So we're isolating the upper half here, okay? We're gonna have our feet, we're not moving them just like they're in cement, okay? We're gonna start in the middle just like so. We're gonna separate and release, okay? Now notice, I've got my opposite, kind of like the Frankenstein stretch, I've got my opposite forearm to my opposite knee, okay? Good follow through. We wanna make sure that we don't finish here, okay? We're not using everything we got, okay? Wanna make sure we're not finishing there. Off to the side, we wanna be opposite arm, opposite knee. There we go. Okay, those are cement feet, guys. All right, next one, rock and glide. All right, Max, how tall are you? 6'1". Attaboy. All right, so about 6'1". So he needs to be about 61¼ inches apart with his stride. Okay, I'm about 6'3", so I'm about 63 inches. Okay, about 6'3" apart with my stride. I'm gonna be real wide here. Okay, we are not gonna move. We're not gonna pick our front foot up. Okay, we're not gonna pick our front foot up. And I'm going to back up also. This drill, you should be at about 30, 35 feet. So what I'm going to do, it's called rock and glide. Got the ball in the mitt, all right? I'm going to rock forward, rock back, and as I'm rocking back, I'm separating my hands, all right? I'm not going to throw it. And then I'm going to release and follow through with that back leg, okay? Notice my front foot, okay? Forward, back, it hasn't moved, and release. But the back leg's going to come through with it, okay? You ready? All right, now one thing I'm noticing, all right, is where Max's toes were, okay? Make sure that you're emphasizing your players. Try and have them coach each other up. You know, have them, give advice to them. If they see something that a player's doing incorrectly, okay, as long as it's, not, where they're harping on it, okay, they're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure that they're working with one another, okay? So Max's toes, when I was looking, they were facing that direction, but he was throwing right here, okay? So we want to make sure that if our toes are in line with our partner, that means our shoulder's going to be in line. Now we're going straight at our target, okay? So you can see that right away with your players. You can see if they're opened up, okay, we talked about leaking, or if they're closed off or they're going this way. So try and get them having where their back toe is going right to their front toe, right to the target, okay? There we go. Okay. All right, guys, next one, position simulated. All right, this is my favorite one. with all of these position simulated exercises, they need to always start with the ball in their mitt. Okay, a lot of guys, when they're doing this, are going to start with the ball in their hand. All right, the problem is, in a game, they've got to work on that transfer, right? They have to transfer the ball, so this is the time to work on it. So if they're an infielder, okay, I'm going to throw these. If they're an infielder, start with the ball in the mitt, okay? Simulate as if you're fielding a ground ball. Bring those feet together and release, okay? They can work on the backhand, okay? Glove side, slow roller, etc. Okay? If they're a catcher, what do? What can they do if they're a catcher? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come out of the crouch, just like, yeah. I'll let you do this one. You're the catcher. All right. So you start with the ball in the mitt. There we go. Working on the tag. Okay. They can also, so he's lined up as if he's throwing to second base. If I face this way, now that's third base. Okay. Starting here, as if they're throwing out a guy stealing third base. Okay. They can also work on back picks to first base. If the guy gets too much of a secondary, so face this way, pop out, throw the guy out at first. All right, outfielders, what can outfielders do? Yep, sacrifice fly, catching the ball, coming in, crow hopping, good release. All right, what about a do or die play where they're coming in on the ball, going to throw the guy out at the base, come in. All right, what about first baseman? What can first baseman do? How about working on the, play at home? How about working on maybe the double play where they're throwing the ball to second base so they can start off? So holding the runner, bounce off, turn inside, and release the ball, okay? So you can have a little fun with it, guys. There's so many different plays that, exist in baseball, but the position simulated, they can have fun with it. They can work on whatever they want. Okay, so we go through those, and then the next thing is just into the normal throwing, okay? Normal throwing into the long toss set. Long tossing is, I'm a big believer that arm strength, okay, is a lot of it is God-given, okay? I don't think there's a whole lot you can do to add to arm strength, but if there is one thing that you can do, it is definitely long tossing, okay? Now, I do believe this. There are certain things that can hurt how hard you can throw, okay? And that's what the first four steps here with our throwing program is all about, okay? If guys don't throw properly, they're not maximizing the God-given ability that they have, okay? They're not throwing as hard as they can. So it's very important to throw properly just to make sure that you are maximizing your God-given ability with your arm strength, okay? So the normal throwing, guys are just going to make a throw, take a step back, and start working your way back, okay? So we're just stepping right, left, and release. And as you start working back, you can start shuffling behind, okay? Start getting even further back, you can crow hop in. All right? Once they get to a point where the ball is, a good 12, 15 feet high in the air, all right, and they can't make that throw any further, it's starting to maybe one hop, that's when they need to start, maybe take a couple steps back in. But once they get to their peak, okay, whether that's 100 feet, 120, 150 feet, once they get to their peak, they need to make a good, 10, 12 throws from that distance, all right? We want to avoid those big rainbows, okay? I know certain coaches I've heard, have been teaching that to, get out to like 300 feet and try and throw the ball as far and as high as you can. And, hey, that might work for some guys. There's always a new fad, okay? There's always new, new drills that are coming out, and that might work for some guys, but I'm a big believer that you need to throw that ball just on a slight arc, okay? Slight arc to your partner, okay? So just working back. Once we start working back in after those 10, 12 throws, a lot of the time you see guys do this. They make that last long toss throw, okay? They make that toss, and they start running back in, and they haven't even made another throw. They're already, 30 feet away from their partner now, and they haven't made another throw. So they've got to come back at a good progression, okay? Slowly but surely working their way back in. So as they're coming back in, I'll make a throw, maybe take one step in, all right? Make another throw, take one step in, okay? Something like that. Once they get into about 20, 25 feet away, then they go through quick hands, quick feet, okay? And this is to work on the transfer, all right? So they want to do this, you know, sometimes we'll have our guys do it 30 seconds, 45, depending on what kind of mood we're in, we might have them do it for a minute, minute and a half, all right? So it varies, whatever you want to do, okay? So quick hands, quick feet is just moving those hands, catch them with two, all right? Hitting your partner in the chest. Just like that, all right? Stepping back. Sometimes guys start creeping up. You see players, you know, they take a step and they creep up and they start getting right on top of them. Make sure they avoid that. After they make that step, they want to take a step back and reload. Notice how Max and I are keeping our feet moving. We're catching the ball with two hands, just like this. Hitting them in the chest, okay? Those are quick hands, quick feet. Now, I'm not sure how long that took to explain, but that throwing program should probably run a good, I'd say 11 to 13 minutes. You should be able to complete all that in 11 to 13 minutes at this level, okay? 5 throws for the wrist flicks, 5 one knee, 5 cement feet, 5 rock and glide, 10 position simulated, and then the normal throwing, you know, that's gonna vary depending on the player, depending on how their arm's feeling that day. And then with the quick hands, quick feet, you know, about a good 30, 45 seconds, something like that, okay? But that's a throwing program, guys, 11 to 13 minutes. I think it's one of the best things that we've implemented in our program, and it really works for our guys. So, any questions on that? Yeah.
Yeah, accuracy. I mean, aiming at the target, right? I mean, how do you emphasize that, or do you even talk about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, with throwing, I mean, you know who Chuck Knobloch is? Mackey Sasser. Okay, those guys are big league players. Okay, and that's a real, you know, not to be overly dramatic, but they had a big, towards the end of their career, they had a problem with mentally just being able to throw the ball. In Mackey Sasser's case, he was a catcher back to the pitcher. Chuck Knobloch couldn't make the throw from second base to first base because it was a mental block. And sometimes I think you're going to run into that with players, okay? You can't tell a kid, don't think about it, all right? What's he going to do? He's going to think about it, okay? Some tactics that I've taken, because we've had some players that I've coached at Gonzaga. We had a middle infielder a few years back that had that problem. He was throwing balls that were bouncing 30 feet in front of the first baseman or going 30 feet over his head. He had a real issue with it. So one thing that I did with him was, and you got to be careful with who you're talking to with this, but I told him as you're playing the game, I want you to be thinking about something else other than the game, okay? You know, we always say stay focused on it, but he was over-focusing, okay? So what he would do is as the ball was hit to him, he would start reciting something. You know, it could be a poem, it could be a song, whatever it is, and it takes his mind off of it, so he stops thinking about it, okay? So that's the mental side of the accuracy. Physically, okay? Physically, that's easy, okay? We could correct that, okay? Because you're going to be able to see it. If a guy's stepping open, okay? If he's stepping over here, if his elbow's dropping, okay? If he's you know, continuously overthrowing the partner, all right, he's doing the same thing, and that's something with the release point. So that's something you can always correct, and it just comes down to, you know, seeing more baseball, you know, knowing what the throwing program is, and how to read, you know, problems with certain players. Okay, but as far as accuracy goes, you know, I've seen some coaches have this rule. I don't know if you guys do this with 12U, but if the guy overthrows it, then that guy has to go get the ball and they replace. I've seen that before. I've never done it. I don't know if if that works or not.
Oh, it does.
Okay. So I guess it works. You know, so that's a tactic you might be able to take. But I mean, as far as with accuracy, you know, one game that we have our pitchers play, you know, because on our high school team we have a lot of pitchers. You know, we have 6 guys that are pitcher only. So they don't play in the field. So it's always interesting to find ways to keep them busy during practice if they just, you know, if they pitch the day before. And one game that we play is the hat drill. Okay, where you put a hat out on the ground right in front of you. Your partner's about 100 feet away or 80 feet away. He puts a hat down in front of him, and they're trying to hit the hat, okay? You can also do a point system where you're playing catch the guy. If he hits it, you know, if he catches it right here, that's 5 points. Chest is 5 or 3. You know, anything off to the side is 0, something like that. You can do a point system, and that can really emphasize the idea of just being accurate.